Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. It is early in the morning and it's nice and cool out, but today it's going up to 32 degrees Celsius. Quite a hot day. So today I'm going to be talking about how to keep your trees cool on a hot day. I'm also going to open a package that Patrick sent me from Springfield, Illinois, and I'm also going to show you some new purchases of mine. The sun is getting higher in the sky. It'll be hitting the polyhouse soon, so things will be heating up quite quickly today. So I was at the thrift store the other day, and I saw this wind chime. It was really cheap. It's missing the flapper at the end, so I just put a piece of cardboard on for now. And it's got a really nice sound. I'll let you hear it. The sun will be hitting the bonsai benches and the greenhouse very soon. So here's the other purchase I got. It was a blue bonsai pot from the thrift store, and that was $5.99. So it's a Japanese pot, really good quality. So I was pleased to find that, and it's a reasonable size. I've given up buying those like really cheap ones. Let me show you an example of one over here. They're just really low quality. Something like this. Kind of just really low quality, and I find they fall apart really quickly. That even if you don't let them freeze or get frost, they still crack and fall apart after a few years. I think they're just not made very well. Today I'm going to be talking about trees and heat. So let's start down here at the roots. Trees are meant to grow in the ground. If you take any bonsai and you plant it in the ground, you'll notice that the vigor will double, triple, or even quadruple. It's amazing. And that's all due to the temperature of the roots. The roots like to be at a certain temperature, not too hot, not too cold, just right. Just like the moisture level in your pot. If it's too wet, the roots don't grow well. If it's too dry, they don't grow well. So they like just the right moisture too. When a tree is grown in a pot, it doesn't have that thermal mass like the ground has. So the soil heats up quickly in the daytime and cools down quickly at night. Exactly the opposite of what you want to grow a tree. You want a nice, stable, kind of moderate temperature in the soil. Research has shown that there's a sweet spot in temperature for roots to grow at their maximum rate. And that sweet spot is around 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. Any temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius and root growth declines rapidly, and temperatures below 20 degrees Celsius, root growth also declines. At the present time, my Austrian pine, the pot is nice and cool to the touch, the soil is nice and cool, so I'm going to try and keep it between that sweet spot 20 to 30 degrees Celsius today, and I'll show you some ways of achieving that. The first step to make sure your tree stays cool on a hot day is to make sure it's watered. The water is taken up by the tree and evaporates on the leaves and needles, and it cools the tree down. So if your tree goes dry on a hot day, it can be very damaging. You could even kill your tree. On a hot day, I always begin the day by watering my trees thoroughly. So I'm going to water them with this nice cool rainwater. I'll add a little bit of fertilizer to the water. So I just add about that much to my water, stir it up. And then I'll water the tree thoroughly. The tree starts the day with lots of water in the soil, nice cool water, and fertilizer. After that watering, the roots on my Austrian pine are hydrated and nice and cool, and I want to keep them that way throughout the day. So if I'm home in the day, I can just keep watering it on a hot day. Even though it doesn't need water, I'll just keep putting cool water on it, and that'll keep the tree cool for the day. If I'm not home, I'll show you what I do. A couple of years ago, I had a larch in a mica pot like this, and it was a hot sunny day, and I put my hand on the pot, and it almost burned my hand. It was so hot, and I thought, that can't be good for the roots. And it wasn't, because the tree died. It just declined after that, and it died the next spring. So I'm quite sure the death was due to the roots overheating. So ever since then, I've been very conscious about keeping my roots cool. One method I have to keep them cool is I place rocks on the surface of the soil, and it stops the water evaporating out on hot days, and it also keeps the sun off the dark areas of the soil, and it keeps it a little cooler. Another method you can use is tin foil. So tin foil reflects the heat really well. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you just roll out some tin foil, get it about the right length, and tear it off. Then you have to make an opening for the trunk of your tree. So just into the middle like that. Just like that. So what this will do is it reflects the sun's rays off of the pot, so it doesn't heat up at all. This keeps it really cool underneath. And I'll show you that later today when it's hot and sunny. I'll remove this and I'll check the temperature of the pot and the soil, and you'll find it's quite cool. The tin foil is easily removable if you want to check the tree for water, see how it's doing, and then you replace it. And if you want to hold it onto the pot a little more securely, you can put some stones on it so it doesn't blow away on a windy day. I'm going to place my temperature probe in the soil. So I'll put it right in here and I'll just stick it in the soil. Find a spot where I can stick it in here, right here. And that'll give me a temperature reading throughout the day. At the moment, the outside temperature is 24 degrees Celsius and my soil temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. So my soil is quite a bit cooler than the outside air, and we'll keep track of this throughout the day. Another technique you can use for keeping your tree cool on a hot day is the location of the tree itself. If you keep the tree in the shade, it's going to stay much cooler than if you put the tree in the sunlight. The ideal location on a hot day is for the tree to get morning sun, be shaded in the afternoon, and then get evening sun to complete the day when it's a little less intense. Generally, my benches here get shade in the morning, and then the hot, intense sun in the afternoon, and then shade in the evening, which is the exact opposite of what I want on a hot day, but I can't change the location. I've got a kind of a treed-in yard, and that's the best I can do. Misting your tree several times on a hot afternoon is another way to keep your tree cool. You just mist the foliage, and I use rainwater so I don't get lime deposits from our tap water. You can mist the trunk, the branches, the needles, the leaves, and that'll keep them cool on a hot day. If you don't have those ideal conditions, sun in the morning, shade in the hot afternoon, and then sun in the evening, it's better to put your trees in the shade for that hot afternoon. It's better to have a tree that stays alive than one that gets cooked in the hot sun. Another technique you can use on a hot day, if you have a secure area that's free of mice and rabbits, is to bury your trees in the ground, pot and all, up to the edge of the pot, in the garden or on the ground, and that'll keep them cool for the day. That'll kind of keep them at the soil temperature, which is quite cool and moderate. Airflow is also important on the trees. Have them in a location where they get a breeze blowing across them if possible, and that'll help keep the tree cool too. So we'll keep track of this tree throughout the day, checking the outside temperature versus the soil temperature, and see how it does. Let's head into the greenhouse now, and I'll show you what I do to keep the trees cool in there. So here in the greenhouse, I'll show you my cooling system. So there's several techniques I'm using in here. I guess one of the most important is the misting system. It draws rainwater up from the bucket, sprays it out like that. sprays out a plume of mist and mists the trees with nice cool water. And that really helps them keep cool on a hot day. The other technique, I have these solar powered fans that Tom sent me. You can see this one's running at the moment. And it's run by a solar panel up here. So the sunnier it gets, the more these fans blow, which is really good. You can feel this fan on a sunny day. It just shoots out a jet of air and keeps the whole greenhouse, the air circulating in the greenhouse, keeps it quite nice. I also have another fan down here behind my heater that I also turn on when it gets hot out, and that circulates air around the greenhouse. Also, in the greenhouse, the higher you are, the hotter it gets. So up at the peak of the greenhouse, it's the hottest. So you can see the vents are open already today. So the shelf up here with the succulents is the hottest shelf in the greenhouse. So you can see right now in the greenhouse, it's about 24 degrees Celsius and about 70% humidity. The next shelf down here is cooler. And then the trees on the bottom in the gravel here stay the coolest of all. And I can bury these pots in this gravel and it stays really cool on a hot day. So the trees on the bottom, even though they don't get the most light, they stay the coolest down here, and the growth has been really, really good on them. Just amazing, in fact. Here's a look at my ficus, which is just growing like crazy, and you can see the aerial roots coming on it. So they like the humidity in here. Maybe the heat not so much, but I try and keep it as cool as possible. So if it gets really hot out, I'll open the door here and I'll put a fan, I'll place this fan out here so it's blowing the cool outside air into the greenhouse, and that really, really helps. It keeps it not too bad in here. This greenhouse also came with a retractable sunshade, so you can slide it across in the mid-afternoon to shade out the trees, and then slide it back when the sun's less intense. So I haven't put that up yet, but I should do that soon before I get the real hot days of summer. I'm very excited to open up the package that Patrick sent me. It says here, contains heckin' cool rocks. And it says, and a bunch of bubble wrap. So some heckin' cool rocks in here. Let's open it up and see what's inside. And thanks so much, Patrick, for sending this to me. So cool. Getting there. Okay, oh, a bit more tape here. There we go. Okay, so there's the bubble wrap. So I'll cut that tape here. And let's see what we got in here. Okay, here's some rocks. Oh, they are cool. Look at that. It's not focusing on it. I gotta hide my face. Did that focus on it? It didn't focus on it. I'll show you all the rocks at the end. So there's 4 rocks here. Heckin' cool rocks. And then there's another layer. Oh my goodness, these are beautiful. These are just wonderful. Full of colors and textures. They are just awesome. And I just so happen to have a marble penjing pot that I can use these in. And then there's another layer in here. Wow. I'm gonna need 2 skids for all my rocks soon. One skid's getting quite full. Here is a look at the rocks now, starting with the reddish rocks. So they're really, really nice. And then we come come over here and there's sort of some greenish gray ones. Some with lots and lots of texture. Rocks with layers. Yeah, just wonderful. Another one. So with rocks like these, I store them by category of texture and color. So I would put all these red rocks together. I would put all the orange rocks together like that. And then, you know, all these kind of slate colored ones together. So then when you're doing a penjing or a bonsai and you need a rock, you just go and you pick your color and your size, and they're all kind of laid out for you, so it makes it easy. If you have them all like in a bucket, it's really hard to get to them. So also on a hot day, don't forget about hydrating yourself. I've got this sparkling water here that tastes really good. So I'm gonna have to drink lots throughout the day. I'll put all the rocks that Patrick sent me in this tray that Bruce gave to me. So that'll be a good place to store them where I can lay them out and see them all. And then I'll put them over on my skid of rocks over here. I'm getting quite a collection of nice rocks. Here's a look at all the rocks graduated from the red on this side, going over to the kind of tan colored, and then eventually more to the green colors. I hope this video has got you thinking about the temperature of your soil in your bonsai pot, keeping those roots in that ideal temperature between 20 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius, and that'll keep your trees really happy. I was coming home from the car show on Sunday, and I noticed the temperature gauge started rising in the truck above normal, and I thought, that's strange, it's never done that before. So I got home and I checked the coolant level, and it was very low. I've got some Prestone antifreeze for the truck. Here it is here. So I've got to mix up 60 parts Prestone with 40 parts water to get the best protection in cold weather. And I haven't noticed any leaks in the lower rad hose or the upper rad hose. So I'm not sure why the coolant level is down. I'm going to fill it up and then turn the engine on and check for leaks. If I don't find any leaks at all, then it could be something a little more serious. It could be like a leak in the radiator. It could be like a tiny pinhole leak and you don't notice the water dripping, but it kind of evaporates off. Or the heater core has a little radiator in it. It could be that too. Worst case scenario, it could be a head gasket where the coolant is leaking into the combustion chamber. So you'll notice coolant in with your oil if that's the case. And I checked the dipstick and it looks like I didn't see any coolant mixed in with the oil or anything, but maybe that's something you'd have to drain the oil to see. So I'm going to go through the process today and try and find out what's going on with the truck to keep it cool also. The engine right now in the truck has an aftermarket air cleaner on it, kind of a hot rod one. I've been trying to find an original air cleaner for it, and I found one on eBay. So I've got that on order. So it's an original Ford truck air cleaner for this engine. So that's going to look a lot better having the original air cleaner on the truck. My Austrian Pine is in the full sun now, so here's an update. The outside temperature is 31 degrees Celsius and the soil temperature is 21 degrees Celsius. So it's gone up 1 degree Celsius, the soil, and the outside temperature has gone up, what was it? It was 24, so it's gone up 7 degrees. So far, the tinfoil is doing a super job. All right, I'm going to put my coolant into the bucket. All right, in goes my water now to complete the mixture. And this will be good down to minus 52 degrees Celsius, or what's that in Fahrenheit? Minus 62 degrees Fahrenheit. I hope it doesn't get that cold. All right, that's mixed up. So now I'll pour it into the radiator. I'm not sure how much it'll take. I'll know when it starts overflowing. Oh, I think it's getting full. Yeah, it's full now. So it used almost all of that. Wow. There's like hardly anything left. So I'll put the cap back on. That is definitely full now. Over full. So there's no reservoir on this radiator. There's just a drip line that comes out of the cap and it just drains down onto the ground. So yeah, so I'll start it up and check for leaks. I'll just have to keep my eyes on the coolant level in the truck, see if it's going down. I don't know, maybe it wasn't filled to begin with. Maybe it's a very slow leak over many years. We'll see. It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. Let's go check on the Austrian Pine. So the outside temperature is 33 degrees Celsius and the soil temperature is 28. Now let's see what that is in Fahrenheit. So 92 degrees Fahrenheit outside and the soil temperature is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So much cooler. Yeah. So that's good. The soil so far is staying in between that 20 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius range. Inside the greenhouse, it's really hot. You can see it's over 50 degrees Celsius there. The needle's pegged. Mr. Mister has stopped. The battery has run out, so I'm going to change that and get it going again. Hasn't stopped long. It's still all wet on the floor down there. So we'll get that changed, start the Mister again in here. The tree is back in the full sun now, so this is where you really see a difference. The outside temperature is 35 and the soil temperature is 28 right now. So let's just see that in Fahrenheit. So 96.9 degrees Fahrenheit and the soil temperature is 82.9 degrees Fahrenheit. So considerably cooler. So that's nice to see that the foil is doing something. And if you lift the cover up here, you can see there's lots of water in there. It hasn't evaporated away. So trees like this that are exposed to the full sun, the soil, you can see how dry it is on top. Now there'll still be moisture down below, but it certainly dries the top out. And it also warms up. You can feel, if I put my hand on the soil here, it's quite warm, and the pot is even warmer. So yeah, you really got to watch it, especially dark pots like here. Yeah, that's really hot. Here's a dark mica pot here. Yeah, like I can hardly touch that. It's oh, that actually burns you. So yeah, you got to be really careful. It's like a car seat. It just heats up and it's really hot. So I'm gonna have to water all these trees to cool them down. Even though it's really hot in the greenhouse, with the humidity, the trees do quite well in here. They're still growing with vigor, and it's only hot, you know, for the afternoon. They were cool all morning, and they'll be cool in the evening. So it's just the afternoon they really heat up in here. And I've got the fan blowing the outside air in now to help cool it. I've got the solar fans are just cranked, and the mister's on, so they're doing all right in here. Some of the other possibilities for cooling down your trees is to install shade cloth above them. You'd have to put some posts in the ground and suspend a cloth up in the air. And you can get various degrees of shade cloth, you know, 10%, 25%, 30%, 50%. I think you can go right up to like 80, 90% shade. So that's a possibility. You can also hook up, you know, a drip system, a watering system of series of tubes that water all your trees, so you can have it on a timer. So on a hot day, it'll, you know, cool them down with fresh water every half an hour for 5-10 minutes or something like that, you know. So it keeps the trees cool on these really hot days. So now you can see how effective this foil is. The outside temperature, it used to say 37 degrees Celsius, and the soil temperature is 28 degrees Celsius. So in Fahrenheit, that's 98 degrees Fahrenheit, and the soil is down to 83 degrees Fahrenheit. So quite a difference. Quite a difference. It's quite effective, that foil. I think one of the biggest advantages of the foil is the amount of water you use. The ones without the foil out here, I have to water them like in the morning, afternoon, and then usually again at nighttime to keep them hydrated. The ones with the foil on like this, they can go the entire day and the soil is still moist. So I just have to re-water them the next morning. Today is also the first day of summer, the longest day of the year, and the sun is the most intense in the sky. So this is the period where the trees can really get sunburnt if they dry out. I've made a foil cover for my old growth style cedar here. So I think that's really going to help keep the roots cool, keep the moisture in. And we'll see how it does this year. I think it'll grow pretty strongly. So to water it, I just have to remove my 2 rocks, take the tinfoil covers off, water it, and put it all back together. It's not too big a deal. Some trees like forest like this, I can't put a tinfoil cover. I could cover the pot in tinfoil to keep it cooler. That's about all, like tinfoil around the edges. Generally, you know, in the forest, all the foliage shades out the soil so it doesn't get too warm on the forest floor anyway. And same with my Osage orange forest here. You can see the forest floor is in the shade and it's quite cool. It's only the upper canopy that gets the sun. But trees like my witch's tree would definitely benefit from foil around them. It would keep the weeds down, keep the moisture in around the roots, because this is a root over rock. And there's so much surface area here that, you know, you get a lot of evaporation. So something like that covered in foil would be ideal for it, I think. I'm back checking on the Austrian pine. Outside temperature 35, soil temperature 28. Amazing, doing a great job. The trees on the bench down here at the far end get light early in the morning, right till about now, which is about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And then they start to go in the shade. You can see up here the walnut trees just starting to create some shade down here. So there's 2 trees I moved back into the sun over on the other bench, my crown of thorns and my Portulacaria afroforest. So I try and keep them in the sunlight as long as possible. So I'll move those now. One final last update for today. The outside temperature is 39 degrees and the soil temperature is 29, so a 10-degree difference. That's pretty good. Let's see that in Fahrenheit. 102 degrees, 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Soil temperature is 84 degrees. That's pretty good. The first day of summer is a hot one. I hope you and your trees stay cool. That's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.